The morning sun shone through the windows of Starlight Diner as Alicia Washington tied her apron around her waist. The small restaurant sat on the edge of town, where the fancy business districts faded into more ordinary neighborhoods. It wasn't much, but the diner had been Alicia's workplace for 6 years now. "Order up, Alicia," called Bill, the cook, sliding a plate of eggs and toast across the counter. Alicia grabbed the plate and delivered it to table 4 with a smile. "Here you go, Mr. Garcia. Just how you like it." Mr. Garcia, a regular customer, nodded his thanks. Alicia moved between tables with practiced ease, refilling coffee cups and taking orders. At 28, she knew every inch of this diner, every regular customer, and exactly how each one liked their eggs. What her customers didn't know was that Alicia spent her nights studying languages, not just French or Spanish, but languages that weren't from Earth at all. Ever since the aliens called the Vexari had arrived 5 years ago and set up their embassy, Alicia had been fascinated by their speech. The complex clicks and tones they used were said to be impossible for human vocal cords to reproduce perfectly. Yet, Alicia could. She didn't know why or how, but when she listened to their language, her mind seemed to map it out like a puzzle. When she spoke it, the sounds came naturally as if she had always known them. The bell above the door chimed, and Alicia looked up to see 3 men enter. 2 were large and wore dark suits with earpieces, clearly security guards. Between them walked a man who stood out in the modest diner like a diamond in a box of rocks. He wore an expensive suit that probably cost more than Alicia made in 3 months. His silver hair was cut perfectly, and his shoes shined in the morning light. He moved with the confidence of someone used to giving orders and having them obeyed without question. The rich man and his guard sat at a booth by the window. Alicia grabbed her tablet and approached their table. "Good morning. Welcome to Starlight Diner," she said with her practiced smile. "What can I get for you today?" The rich man barely looked at her. "Coffee, black, and whatever passes for a decent breakfast. Here." One of the guards gave Alicia an apologetic look. "I'll have the same, miss, thank you." The second guard nodded. "Make it 3. Alicia wrote down their order. "Coming right up." As she turned to place the order with Bill, her pocket vibrated. Most waitresses weren't allowed to keep personal devices during their shifts. But Bill made an exception for Alicia. With her parents gone, she was raising her 16-year-old brother Devin alone and needed to be reachable in case of emergency. "Sorry, need to check this," she said, pulling out her communicator. The message on the screen wasn't in English. It was in Vexari, the clicking, tonal language of the aliens. The message was from Professor Wu, her study partner at the night classes she took at the community college. Without thinking, Alicia responded in perfect Vexari, her voice producing the complex sounds with ease. When she looked up, she found the rich man staring at her with undisguised shock. "I'm sorry about that," Alicia said, switching back to English. "I'll get your coffee right away." "Wait," the rich man said, his voice sharp. "What was that language you just spoke?" "Oh, that was Vexari," Alicia replied. "I study it at night school." "No, it wasn't," the man said, leaning forward. "I've heard Vexari spoken by humans before. None of them sound like that. None of them can make those sounds correctly." Alicia shifted uncomfortably. "I've always been good with languages." The man's eyes narrowed. "What's your name?" "Alicia Washington, sir." He pulled out a slim metal case from his jacket and handed her a card. It was simple white with just a name and contact information. "George Harrington, CEO, Harrington Galactic. Call me," he said. "We should discuss your linguistic abilities." Alicia took the card, recognizing the name. Harrington Galactic was one of the biggest private space companies in the world, the first to create working partnerships with the Vexari for technology exchanges. "I'm not looking for a new job, Mr. Harrington," she said politely. "I'm not offering a job. Yet." His voice was cool but intense. "I'm offering an opportunity to use your clearly unique talents for something more important than serving eggs." One of the guards cleared his throat. "Sir, we have the meeting in 30 minutes. Harrington nodded and turned back to Alicia. "Think about it, Ms. Washington. Someone with your abilities shouldn't be working in a place like this." Alicia brought their coffee, feeling Harrington's eyes on her the entire time. When she served their food, he barely acknowledged her, talking quietly with his guards instead. After they left, leaving a tip larger than her daily wages, Alicia found herself staring at Harrington's card. Something about the encounter left her uneasy. How did he know that her pronunciation was unusual? And why would the CEO of a major company care about a waitress who could speak an alien language? She tucked the card into her pocket and went back to work, pushing the strange meeting from her mind. She had a full shift ahead, and then night classes to prepare for. Her dreams of someday working as a translator for the Vexari embassy seemed far away, but they were what kept her going through long shifts at the diner. What Alicia didn't know was that George Harrington was already making calls from his car, searching for information about her. By evening, he would know her address, her financial situation, her educational background, and her family status. By the next morning, he would have a plan to bring her into his world, one way or another. And by the following night, everything Alicia thought she knew about herself, her world, and her future would change forever. As the day continued, Alicia served food, wiped tables, and chatted with regular customers. The diner was her safe, familiar place. But each time the door opened, she found herself looking up, half expecting to see Harrington return. He didn't come back that day, but his interest in her had set events in motion that would soon pull Alicia from her small life into something far bigger and stranger than she could imagine. For now, though, she simply finished her shift, counted her tips, and headed home to the apartment she shared with her brother, unaware that forces beyond Earth were already reaching for her, drawn by her unique ability to speak a language that should have been impossible for human lips to form. Alicia arrived home to her small apartment still shaking with anger. She threw her bag on the couch and paced the living room, trying to make sense of what had just happened. Her brother Devin looked up from his homework at the kitchen table. "You're home early," he said, noting her expression. "Bad day." "I got fired," Alicia said, her voice tight. Devin's eyes widened. "What? Why? You're the best worker they have." Alicia sat down heavily across from him. "Remember that man in the fancy suit from yesterday? The one who barely looked at me when ordering? The rich guy with the bodyguards? Yes. Somehow, he got me fired." She rubbed her temples. "It happened right after he heard me speaking Vexari." Devin closed his textbook. At 16, he was sharp and observant, much like Alicia. "Wait, you spoke Vexari in front of a customer? I thought you were keeping that quiet." It was a message from Professor Wu. I answered without thinking. She sighed. "But now that customer wants to meet me at Harrington Galactic headquarters this afternoon." "Harrington Galactic?" Devin's eyes grew even wider. "That rich guy was George Harrington, the space billionaire?" Alicia nodded. "And he's offering me $1,000 just to show up for a meeting." "You have to go." Devin stood up excitedly. "This could be huge." Alicia was less certain. "He got me fired, Devin. What kind of person does that?" "Someone who needed to get your attention," Devin suggested. "Look, we need the money. Even if you just take his $1,000 and tell him off, that's a month's rent right there." Had a point. With their parents gone, money was always tight. Alicia's diner job had barely covered their expenses, and her night studies didn't pay anything yet. "Fine," she said, "but I'm not letting him push me around." 3 hours later, Alicia sat in the back of a sleek black car heading downtown. The driver, a polite woman named Rose, had arrived exactly at the promised time. "First time visiting Harrington Galactic?" Rose asked, catching Alicia's eye in the mirror. "Yes. I didn't expect to ever have a reason to go there." Rose smiled. "Mr. Harrington doesn't bring many people to his private office. You must be special." Alicia stared out the window, watching as they passed from her modest neighborhood into the gleaming downtown area. "I'm just a waitress," she said quietly. "Or I was, until this morning." When they reached the building, Alicia was escorted directly to a private elevator that required a special key card. The woman accompanying her Diane from the message was professional but not friendly. "Mr. Harrington doesn't like small talk," she advised as the elevator climbed higher. "Answer his questions directly and honestly." The elevator opened directly into Harrington's office, revealing a space larger than Alicia's entire apartment. One wall was nothing but windows showing a view of the entire city. George Harrington stood looking out at that view, his back to her when she entered. He was tall and fit for a man in his 50s, with silver hair cut short and expensive. "Ms. Washington," he said without turning. "Thank you for coming. You didn't leave me much choice," Alicia replied, her voice steadier than she felt. "You took my job." Now he turned, studying her with those same calculating eyes from the diner. "I needed to speak with you privately. Your work environment was not suitable for what I have to say." "So you ruined my livelihood instead of asking for my number?" A slight smile crossed his face. "Your job is the least of what's at stake here. Please, sit." Reluctantly, Alicia took a seat in one of the sleek chairs facing his desk. "What do you want from me?" "First, I want to know how you learned to speak Vexari with native-level pronunciation. No human I've ever met can produce those sounds correctly." Alicia hesitated. She had kept her studies mostly private, worried that people would think she was strange. "I listen. Really listen. Languages have patterns, rhythms. The Vexari embassy releases public learning materials. I studied them. Many people study them. None speak like you do." Harrington leaned forward. "Let me be clear. What you did yesterday should be impossible. Human vocal cords aren't built to make some of those sounds." "Yet I did it," Alicia said. "Simply, yes, you did." Harrington pressed a button on his desk, and a holographic display appeared between them. It showed what looked like brain scans. "These are normal human brain patterns when processing language." He pressed another button and a different scan appeared. "These are Vexari brain patterns." Another button. "And these are yours, from public medical records after your hospital visit last year." Alicia stared at the images. Her brain patterns looked more like the alien ones than the human ones. "How is this possible?" she asked quietly. "That's what I want to find out." Harrington's voice softened slightly. "Ms. Washington, I've been searching for someone like you for years. Someone who can truly understand and communicate with non-human intelligence. Not just translate words, but grasp concepts that might be entirely foreign to human thinking. Why? Because we found something that could change everything for humanity." He stood and walked to a wall that slid open at his approach, revealing a small private room. Inside was a pedestal holding what looked like a small, dark stone about the size of a fist. It seemed to absorb the light around it. This was recovered from the Vexari ship when they first arrived. They claimed not to know its purpose. Harrington's voice dropped lower. "But it's been responding to certain frequencies. We believe it's a key of some kind." "A key to what?" "That's what I need you to help me find out." He turned to face her directly. "Ms. Washington, I'm offering you a position at Harrington Galactic. Starting salary of $250,000 per year, plus full benefits and housing for you and your brother." Alicia felt dizzy at the number. It was more than she would make in 10 years at the diner. "What exactly would I be doing?" "Learning to communicate with this object," Harrington said, gesturing to the stone. "And eventually, communicating with what's on the other side." The stone pulsed once, as if responding to his words, and Alicia felt something brush against her mind like a whisper in a language she almost understood. Alicia stared at the strange stone, feeling a pull toward it that she couldn't explain. The whisper in her mind grew stronger when she stepped closer. "Can I touch it?" she asked. Harrington looked surprised by her request. "No one has been able to touch it directly. It creates some kind of force field." "Let me try," Alicia said, her voice firm. After a moment of hesitation, Harrington nodded. "If you feel anything strange, pull back immediately." Alicia reached toward the dark stone. As her hand got closer, she felt a warm tingling in her fingertips. Where others had found a barrier, her hand passed through easily. When her skin touched, The surface, the stone lit up with swirling blue patterns. Harrington gasped. Impossible. Images flooded Alicia's mind. Stars, planets, strange beings with bodies made of light. She heard sounds that formed patterns, complex and beautiful. Her fingers tightened around the stone. Alicia? Are you okay? Harrington's voice seemed far away. The stone grew hot in her hand, but she couldn't let go. The patterns on its surface spread up her arm like glowing blue veins. Then, just as suddenly as it started, everything stopped. The stone went dark again, and Alicia stumbled backward. What happened? Harrington asked, eyes wide with excitement. It showed me things, Alicia said, her voice shaky. Stars, beings made of light, and a map, I think. A map to where? I don't know exactly, but somewhere. Not here. Not in our solar system. Harrington's face lit up. This is more than I hoped for. Will you take the job? Alicia thought about Devon, about their struggling finances, about her dead-end job that no longer existed. Then she thought about the whispering stone and the map it had shown her. Yes, she said, but I have conditions. My brother comes with me, wherever I need to go, and I want to finish my education. Done, Harrington said without hesitation. We have excellent tutors. Your brother can continue his schooling within our facility. When do I start? Right now, if you're willing. 3 days later, Alicia and Devon moved into their new apartment in the Harrington Galactic Residential Complex. It was bigger than any place they had ever lived, with large windows showing a view of the ocean. This is crazy, Devon said, spinning around in the living room. We went from barely making rent to living like rich people. Don't get too comfortable, Alicia warned him. We're here because they want something from me. Still, it's pretty cool. Alicia had spent the past 3 days in intensive briefings. She learned that Harrington Galactic had been studying the stone for 5 years, ever since the Vexari had gifted it to Earth during first contact. The aliens claimed it was a relic from an ancient civilization, one that had vanished long ago. No human had ever been able to activate it the way Alicia had. On her 4th day, Harrington introduced her to the team she would be working with. Dr. Lisa Chen, xenolinguist, Dr. Marcus Brown, physicist, and Jack Porter, security specialist. This is a very small team, Lisa explained as she showed Alicia around the lab. What we're doing is classified at the highest levels. Even from the government? Alicia asked. Lisa and Marcus exchanged looks. Especially from the government, Marcus said quietly. They would want to control this, use it for military applications. And Harrington doesn't? Harrington wants to explore, Lisa said. To make contact, not to find weapons. The stone sat in the center of the lab, now surrounded by even more monitoring equipment than before. When Alicia entered, the surface flickered, briefly with blue light. It recognizes you, Marcus said, checking his instruments. Fascinating. What does Harrington think it is? Alicia asked. He believes it's a communication device, Lisa explained. A way to contact the civilization that created it. And what do you think it is? Lisa hesitated. I think it might be more than that. The patterns you described seeing, the map. I think it might be a key to something bigger. Like what? Like a doorway to somewhere else. Over the next 2 weeks, Alicia worked with the stone every day. Each time she touched it, more of the strange language entered her mind. She began to understand patterns, to recognize certain symbols that repeated. Lisa helped her record everything, creating a growing database of the alien language. Marcus monitored the stone's energy levels, which increased whenever Alicia worked with it. You're making incredible progress, Harrington told her during their weekly meeting. More than we made in 5 years. The stone wants to communicate, Alicia explained. It's been waiting for someone who could understand. And that's you, Harrington said. It wasn't a question. Yes, though I don't know why. That night, Alicia dreamed of the beings made of light. They spoke to her in their strange language, but now she understood parts of it. The key opens the way, they told her. The doorway waits. She woke with a start, the words echoing in her mind. Without thinking, she got dressed and made her way to the lab. The night guard recognized her and let her pass. The lab was dark and empty. The stone sat under its protective case, but as Alicia approached, it began to glow. She removed the case and placed her hand on the stone. This time, the blue pattern spread not just up her arm but across the entire room, projecting a star map onto the walls, floor, and ceiling. One star pulsed brighter than the others. "I understand," Alicia whispered. "You want me to go there." The door to the lab opened suddenly, and Harrington stood in the doorway, staring at the projection in amazement. "How did you know to come here? Tonight?" Alicia asked him. "The security system alerted me," he said, stepping into the room. "But I've been expecting something like this. The energy readings have been building for days." He walked slowly through the star map, looking at the glowing points of light. "Do you know where this is?" he asked. "Yes," Alicia said. "It's a star system at the edge of our galaxy, and there's something there waiting for us." "For us? Or for you?" "For humanity," Alicia said with certainty. "But they'll only speak to someone who understands their language." Harrington's smile grew. "Then we'll have to build a ship to take you there." The star map pulsed once more, then faded. The stone grew dark in Alicia's hand, but she knew it wasn't finished. It was just waiting for the next step. "How long would it take to reach this star system?" she asked. "With conventional engines?" "Hundreds of years." Harrington's eyes gleamed. "But I don't think we'll be using conventional engines, will we?" Alicia looked down at the stone. "No. I think this is more than a map. I think it's also the key to getting there." 6 months passed quickly. Alicia worked with the stone every day, learning more of its language and secrets. The team grew as Harrington brought in engineers and specialists to build what they now called the Pathfinder, humanity's first faster-than-light ship. Devon thrived in his new school. He made friends with the children of other Harrington employees and showed a talent for physics that impressed his teachers. He often visited Alicia in the lab after school, curious about her work. "How does it feel when you touch it?" he asked, one day watching the stone glow blue under Alicia's fingers. "Like I can hear music that's also words," she tried to explain. "Like the universe is trying to talk to me." Devon nodded as if this made perfect sense. "Do you think they chose you for a reason?" Alicia had wondered this herself many times. "I don't know. Maybe it's just that my brain works differently. Or maybe they were looking for you specifically," Devon suggested. The thought gave Alicia chills. That evening, Harrington called Alicia to his office. The wall screens showed the nearly completed Pathfinder in its construction bay beneath the ocean. "We're ahead of schedule," he said, clearly pleased. "The stone's energy has been powering our work in ways we never imagined. It's like it wants us to finish quickly." "It does," Alicia confirmed. "The beings who made it are waiting." "Tell me more about these beings," Harrington said, sitting down across from her. "You've mentioned them before, but never in detail." Alicia hesitated. She hadn't told anyone everything she saw in her visions. "They call themselves the Travelers. They look like beings made of light, with no solid form that I can see. They've visited thousands of worlds over millions of years. And they left these stones as a way to find them?" "Yes. They seeded them throughout the galaxy, waiting for species that were ready." "Ready for what?" "To join them," Alicia said simply. "To learn what they know." Harrington leaned forward. "And what do they know?" "How to travel between stars in moments, how to create energy from nothing, how to live for thousands of years." Alicia met his gaze steadily. "They know the secrets of the universe. And they're willing to share these secrets with us? Why?" "Because that's what they do. They find species with potential and help them grow." She paused. "But only if we prove ourselves worthy." "And how do we do that?" "By showing we can understand their message and follow it to them. By showing we won't use their knowledge to destroy." Harrington nodded slowly. "That's why I've kept the government out of this. They would want weapons, advantages over other nations. The Travelers would know. They would never share their knowledge with those who would misuse it. 2 weeks later, the Pathfinder was ready for its first test. The ship was smaller than Alicia had expected, designed to carry just 6 people. Its sleek silver hull was etched with patterns that matched those on the stone. "We've incorporated everything you translated," Marcus explained as they toured the ship. The hull material, the engine design, even the life support systems. The heart of the ship was the navigation room, where a special chamber had been built for the stone. When Alicia placed it inside, the entire ship hummed to life, systems activating without anyone touching controls. "It works," Lisa whispered in awe. "It's actually powering up." "When can we leave?" Alicia asked, feeling the pull of the distant star system growing stronger. "We need to run tests first," Harrington said. "Make sure it's safe. I'm planning for launch in 30 days. But that night, Alicia's dreams were filled with urgent messages. The travelers showed her images of their star dying, of time running out. They needed her to come now, not in 30 days. When she woke, she knew what she had to do. She found Devin already awake, sitting on the edge of his bed. "You had the dream too," she said, not really surprised. He nodded. "They showed me the star dying. They need us now." "Us? You saw yourself there?" "Yes, they kept showing me equations like they were trying to tell me something important." Devin looked up at his sister. "I have to go with you." "It's too dangerous. You're only 16. "They chose both of us, Alicia. I don't know why, but they did." Alicia knew he was right. She had seen him in her visions too, working with strange devices, helping the travelers. "Harrington won't let us go early, and he definitely won't let you go," she said. "Then we don't ask him." Devin's face was set with determination. "The ship is ready. The stone will guide us. You're talking about stealing the most expensive ship ever built. I'm talking about saving the travelers before it's too late." They moved quickly and quietly. Their access badges let them into the facility where the Pathfinder waited. The night guards knew them well and barely glanced up as they passed. The ship sat in its launch bay, a pool of water ready to open to the ocean outside. Alicia and Devin slipped aboard and made their way to the control room. "Do you even know how to fly this thing?" Devin asked suddenly. "I don't think I need to," Alicia replied, placing the stone in its chamber. "I think it knows the way." The ship powered up instantly, displays lighting with alien symbols that Alicia now understood. The main screen showed a countdown in the traveler's language. "We have 10 minutes before the automatic systems alert security," she said. "Are you sure about this?" Devin nodded. "I've never been more sure of anything." Alicia placed her hands on the control panel. The ship responded to her touch, systems activating under her fingers. The launch bay doors began to open below them, water rushing in from the ocean. "They're going to be really angry," Devin said as the ship began to move. "We'll make it up to them by bringing back the knowledge of the travelers," Alicia replied. "If we're right, this trip will change humanity forever." The Pathfinder slipped into the ocean and then shot upward, breaking the surface and accelerating toward the sky faster than any Earth ship had moved before. Within minutes, they were beyond Earth's atmosphere, the planet a blue marble below them. Alarms began to sound as Harrington Galactic realized what was happening. The communication system lit up with incoming messages. "Alicia, what are you doing?" Harrington's voice came through, a mix of anger and fear. "Turn around immediately." "I can't," she replied. "The travelers are in danger. Their star is dying. We need to reach them now, not in 30 days. "This is madness. The ship hasn't been tested. You could both be killed. We have to try." Alicia looked at Devin, who nodded. "I'm sorry, but this is bigger than all of us." She placed her hand on the stone one more time. The ship shuddered as new energy flowed through it. Stars streaked across the view screen as the Pathfinder leaped forward at impossible speed. Earth vanished behind them as they headed toward their destiny. The Pathfinder moved through space in a way no human ship had ever traveled before. Outside the windows, stars stretched into lines of light, then vanished completely as they entered what Alicia could only describe as a tunnel of blue energy. "Rena, we going faster than light?" Devin asked, staring at the displays that showed their speed in numbers that made no sense. "I think we're not really in normal space anymore," Alicia said. The stone created some kind of pathway between stars. They had been traveling for 6 hours now. Earth's communications had faded shortly after their departure. They were truly alone, guided only by the stone and its pulsing light. How long until we reach the travelers? Devon asked. Alicia checked the alien symbols on the main screen. About 2 more hours, I think. The ship is following the path exactly. Devon nodded and went to explore the rest of the ship. Despite the rush of their departure, the Pathfinder was fully stocked with food, water, and emergency supplies. Harrington had prepared it well, even if he hadn't intended for them to leave so soon. Alicia stayed with the stone, watching its glow change and pulse. Sometimes she heard whispers in her mind, fragments of messages from the travelers. They were waiting, watching the ship's approach. Suddenly, the tunnel of blue energy around them began to flicker. The ship shuddered, and warning lights flashed across the control panels. "Devon," Alicia called. "Something's wrong." Devon ran back to the control room. "What's happening?" "I don't know. The pathway is becoming unstable." The stone's glow was dimming, its blue light fading to a dull gray. Alicia placed her hands on it, trying to reconnect. "The star?" She gasped as images filled her mind. Their star is collapsing faster than they expected. The energy pathway is breaking down. The ship lurched violently, throwing them against the walls. The view screen filled with swirling chaos as the blue tunnel began to tear apart around them. "Can we go back?" Devon asked, pulling himself up. "I don't think so. We're too far from Earth now." Alicia pressed her hands more firmly on the stone. "I need to find another path." She closed her eyes, letting the stone's language flow through her mind. The travelers had prepared for this. There was another way, a secondary path that would take them to a different location. "Hold on," she told Devon. "This might be rough." She entered new commands, her fingers moving across the alien controls as if she had used them all her life. The ship turned sharply, leaving the collapsing tunnel and plunging into darkness. For a terrifying moment, they seemed to be nowhere at all. Then a new pathway formed around them, this one glowing green instead of blue. "Where are we going now?" Devon asked, his voice small. "To their second home," Alicia said, reading the symbols, "a planet they prepared long ago in case their star became unstable." The green pathway was more turbulent than the blue one had been. The ship rocked and shook as they traveled, but Alicia kept her hands steady on the controls. The stone's glow strengthened again, guiding them forward. After what felt like hours but was probably only minutes, the green pathway began to fade. The view screen cleared, showing normal space again. Before them hung a planet, mostly blue with swirls of white clouds and patches of green land. "It looks like Earth," Devon whispered. "But it's not." Alicia checked the readings. The atmosphere has more oxygen. The gravity is slightly less, and there are no large oceans, just many small seas. The ship began to descend toward the planet, guided by an invisible beacon. As they got closer, they could see structures on the surface, graceful towers that curved toward the sky, shimmering as if made of light itself. "That's where the travelers live?" Devon asked. "I think so, though live might not be the right word for them." The Pathfinder touched down softly on a flat area near the largest collection of towers. Through the view screen they could see no movement, no sign of life. "Are they here?" Devon asked, suddenly nervous. "Yes," Alicia said, feeling their presence. "They're waiting for us to come out." They put on the lightweight spacesuits that had been stored aboard, not knowing if they could breathe the planet's air. Alicia carried the stone, which now pulsed with a steady, bright blue light. The ship's door opened and they stepped onto the surface of an alien world. The ground felt solid under their feet, covered in something like short blue grass. The air smelled sweet even through their suit filters. "I think we can breathe here," Alicia said, checking the readings on her suit. "The air is safe for humans." Cautiously, they removed their helmets. The air tasted clean and slightly sweet, like breathing near a field of flowers. They walked toward the nearest tower, which rose at least 500 feet into the sky. As they got closer, The tower's surface began to shimmer and pulse with the same blue light as the stone. "They know we're here," Alicia said. Suddenly the air in front of them seemed to bend and fold. A shape formed, made of swirling blue light. It had no clear features, just a vaguely humanoid form that changed and shifted constantly. "Welcome, children of Earth," a voice spoke directly into their minds. "You have come just in time." More light. Beings appeared around them, some blue, others green or gold. They moved like flowing water, graceful and eerily beautiful. "Our primary world is gone," the first being continued. "Our star collapsed this morning. You were the only ones who answered our call in time." "There were others?" Alicia asked, surprised. "Many stones, many worlds. We send our message to all who might be ready. You were the first to complete the journey." Devon stepped forward. "Why us? Why did you choose us specifically?" The light being shifted, its form stretching toward Devon. "Your minds were open. Your species stands at a turning point. And you, Alicia Washington, have a rare gift for understanding languages beyond your own." "What happens now?" Alicia asked, holding up the stone. "Now we teach you, as we have taught others before. The knowledge of 10 million years, the science of 1,000 worlds, the wisdom of the stars themselves." "And then we take this knowledge back to Earth?" Devon asked. The being seemed to hesitate. "If that is your choice. But know this. With such knowledge comes great responsibility. Some species have used our gifts to destroy themselves." "Earth won't," Alicia said firmly. "Not if we're careful about how we share it." "That," said the light being, "is why we chose you. Your heart seeks knowledge, not power." It moved closer to Alicia. "Come. There is much to learn, and though we do not die as you understand it, our energy in this form is limited. We must pass our knowledge to you before we transform." The light beings encircled them, guiding them toward the tower. As they walked, Alicia felt a weight of responsibility unlike anything she had ever known. They were about to become the keepers of an ancient legacy, the bridge between humanity and the stars. And it had all begun with a simple phrase in an alien language, spoken in a diner to a man who recognized its importance.